Hey, boys and girls, this is the answers to the Chapter 10 review. Sorry, for some reason this pen wasn't working the other day and I couldn't do it, but it's working now, so we should be good. So, number one. Number one, you select a card at random from 50 cards numbered 1 to 5. What are the possible outcomes for the event of choosing a number that is a multiple of 6? For here, you just had to list the multiples of 6. And they are here. That's it. Just wants you to list the outcome. Number two, 3 fair coins are tossed together. List the outcomes that are favorable for the event of only 2 of the coins landing on heads. So if you think of when you toss 3 coins up, you can get these options. You can get heads, heads, heads. You can get tails, tails, tails. You can get heads, heads, tails. You can get heads, tails, heads. Tails, heads, heads. You can get tails, tails, heads. Tails, heads, tails. And heads, tails, tails. These are all the options you can get. Now it says list the outcomes favorable for the event of only 2 of the coins landing on heads. Well, only 2 of the coins landing on heads, so that's 3 of the coins. That doesn't work. That's 3 of the coins landing on tails. This is 2 landing on heads. This is 2 landing on heads. And this is 2 landing on heads. These have just 1 head, 1 head, 1 head. So those are the 3 options that are favorable to that. Number 3, Daniel wants to write all the 2-digit numbers with no repeating digits that can be formed using the digits 5, 6, and 7. So we're just doing 2-digit numbers. So we can have 56, 57, 65, 67, 75, and 76. So those are all the possible outcomes. X is the event that the 2-digit number is divisible by 5. How many of the outcomes are favorable to event X? So if a number is divisible by 5, it ends in a 0 or a 5. So in this case, we only have 1, 2 options. So the answer here is 2. Amy writes a computer program that will choose 2 letters from her own name to make a 2-letter string. The order of the letters matters. For example, AM and MA are different strings. List all the possible outcomes for forming a 2-letter string. So we can do AM, we could do AY, we could do MA, MY, YA, and YM. So we have those 6 options. What is the probability that Amy forms a 2-letter string with the letter M in it? So this has M, this has M, this has M, and this has M. So there are 4 favorable outcomes to this, and there are 6 outcomes altogether. So the answer is 4 of 6, which reduces to 2/3. All right. Number 5, 2-digit numbers are formed using 2, 3, and 4 with no repeating digits. List the possible outcomes. So we can do 23, 24, 32, 34, 42, and 43. What's the probability of forming a number greater than 32? Well, these 2 are less than 32. This is exactly 32. So there's just 3 options out of 6. So that makes 1/2 is the probability of forming a number greater than 32. So Tim has 3 DVDs. One is a science fiction movie, one is an action movie, and the other is a documentary. If he stacks the DVDs randomly, what is the probability that the science fiction movie is on top, the action movie is in the middle, and the documentary is on the bottom? So if we think about it, he's got a science fiction, action, and documentary. So he could stack them like this, right? That's what's asked for. What's the probability that it's going to look like this? Again, science fiction is on top, action's in the middle, documentary is on the bottom. So that's one option. Another option is you might have science fiction, documentary, action. He can have documentary, action, science fiction, documentary, science fiction, action, or he could have action, documentary, science fiction, or action, science fiction, documentary. So, what's the probability that it's going to have this? Well, that's one favorable outcome out of a total of 6 different possibilities. So the answer is 1/6. A ribbon is selected at random out of a total of 4 orange ribbons, 5 yellow ribbons, and 3 red ribbons. What's the probability of selecting an orange ribbon? Well, we have 4 orange ribbons, so that means there are 4 favorable outcomes. And there are 12 ribbons altogether, so the answer is 4/12, which reduces to 1/3. If you have any questions, confused about something, just give me an email.